Hi, everyone. I'm joined by one of the young talents in Big Ten women's volleyball. She just finished her freshman season at Northwestern and now joins me here. It's Kennedy Hill. Kennedy, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thanks for joining me. So, you had a very successful career as a high school player and as a club player, right? Essentially playing for the best of the best at Sunshine, Harvard, Westlake. With all this success, at what point did you think to yourself, one, I want to play D1, and two, yeah, I'm actually good enough to do this because that's not something many players can say.
I think the point where I realized that I was going to go D1 was probably when I made the switch from lava to Surfside and then to Sunshine. I think once I actually was playing for a good team, I thought like I really enjoy, first of all, winning, but also I just enjoy the sport of volleyball in general. The camaraderie and like just the joy and passion that I had for the sport really just solidified my decision to go D1.
And what were some of the things that drove you to choose Northwestern? Obviously, you had offers from multiple schools, USC and
Mm-hmm.
UCLA being some of them, schools from your hometown. So what made you choose Northwestern?
Northwestern was just the perfect mix of academics and um, volleyball. It was first of all they're in the Big Ten, which is one of the best conferences in the country, and also it being Northwestern, I'm pretty sure they're number 9 right now, ranked in national colleges. So I think that mix was just what made it perfect for me.
And
So yeah.
once you committed to Northwestern, did you start speaking to teammates right away? Did any of them reach out to you, or how was that?
I know Sienna, who's in my freshman class. She reached out to me. She actually committed to Northwestern before I did, and she was just kind of telling me about the school. Since it was during the pandemic, I didn't really have a sense of what the school was like or anything. So she kind of added some more details about what it would be like and how the coaches are. So I think that was one of the factors that helped me choose Northwestern and everything. But the team in general, they reached out to me beforehand as well and just told me how much they would love to have me here. And I got to go on a couple of Zoom calls with the coaches and the teammates too. So all of those things kind of added to my decision.
And with Sienna, you played against her, didn't you?
I did. She went to Village Christian, which is a few miles away from me, and then I went to obviously Harvard Westlake. So we played against each other multiple times, and in club as well because we both of our clubs are in the same vicinity.
Got
Yeah.
it. So obviously you had, contact with Sienna and then some of the other
Mm-hmm.
teammates and coaches. With all that, did you still feel it was a bit of a challenge to get used to the new environment, your new teammates, new coaches, et cetera?
Yeah, for sure. It's always a hurdle going to a new place. But I think it was a lot easier having a team to back you and like kind of push you through the process. So I definitely have a unique experience from an average college student, and that it's kind of a built-in friend group going into college. But you know, it was obviously a little bit of a struggle trying to like interact with new students and kind of make friends outside of like the athletic sphere of things. So that was a little difficult, but I already found a few friends, and we're all in the same boat. So it's all about just socializing.
And I mean, it seemed to me that you adjusted pretty quickly just based on your debut against Pacific. I'm sure you remember in the Wildcats Classic, you led the team in
Yeah.
blocks, put in a great performance. What was that day for you like from I'm about to play my first game to wow, I just played my first game?
People always ask me about my routine before games. I actually don't really have one. All it is just listen to music. I like just listen to good music before games just to get my nerves down. But actually, before the game, I just felt extremely centered and calm. And I felt like this is just another one of the games, from club. And it was definitely a great feeling going into it as well because my teammates were just like, oh my goodness, like you're about to play your first game. How do you feel? Like we have your back, whatever you need to talk about beforehand. And it just felt like a very supportive atmosphere beforehand. But my club team was actually very successful for Northwestern. So we had these like challenging games, like big games beforehand. So I was kind of prepared for what that would feel like. And coming into Northwestern in that first game, I felt like it was just another one of those games from before. So going into it, it was a very good feeling, and playing it was extremely fun as well. It was like very low stakes too, so it was just I had a lot of fun doing it.
So what's your lock-in song? Do you have a playlist? Do you have one song that you always listen to?
Um, I listen to a lot of Drake, so pretty much name any Drake song. I will probably love it. Also, Kendrick Lamar. Those are probably the two artists that I listen to most before games.
Okay, it's valid. That's valid.
Yeah.
So what about the next tournament? So after the Wildcats Classic, the Golden Eagle Invitational, it was away in Tennessee, I believe, right? So
Yeah.
it was your first away trip. What was that like to travel with the team?
It was a lot of fun. So those away trips, we also went to Seattle too. Those were like a lot of just fun. Like it's just a lot of exploring what's around us. Like we go to like team dinners, little team trips to like malls or whatever, and it was just more fun than business. So those trips were good. It's a good to have those under your belt before going into actual season. So I think they were just mostly trying to prepare us for what's it like to be with the team pretty much your whole fall, especially and also being away with your team as well. So it was a lot of learning, a lot of fun, and obviously playing as well. But that was more to the side than anything.
Did you have a favorite away trip from the season, whether it had to do with the game or just the trip itself?
Yet, I mean, I mentioned it. So Seattle was definitely probably the team's favorite. We got to go to what's it called? It's a fish market, Pikes Peak,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was definitely the highlight. We explored all the different markets, like clothes, food, little souvenirs. It was just a lot of fun, and I've never been to Seattle myself, so it was just good to explore this new city, and I loved it more than I thought I would.
That's great. So with all that time that you get to bond with your teammates and all that, is there a teammate or teammates that you sort of looked up to as mentors this season?
I look up to all the middles, so we did stuff out with them a lot, and they definitely taught me from the get go like what to expect on the team and how to kind of navigate the mental pressure that comes with college athletics. So them being there and just telling me to just keep my autonomy and keep my mental center really helped me going into the actual season and everything. So I definitely look up to them. Obviously, they have many more years than me under their belt. So I definitely trusted them and what they had to say and everything. So I really, really appreciated them telling me what to expect.
And you've got your teammates, and how about your coach, Coach Davis? He mentioned how you're someone who brings the high energy to the game. How important is it to you to bring energy like that to the game, whether it's while you're on the court or even off the court?
It's so important because without energy, it's just kind of a dead game. So to bring energy is like kind of the foundation of volleyball, only because energy makes or breaks it and how a team's playing. So even though these were low, especially early in the season, the low stakes games, it was very important to have the energy we needed to beat the teams that we needed to beat, and that we had to believe we could beat as well. So energy is definitely how I get myself hyped up to play. So it just ends up spreading to everyone else as well and helps with our playing and with the atmosphere that we put out onto the court and everything.
And speaking of your coach again,
Yeah.
what are some meaningful things that you took away from your first year with Shane Davis as your head coach? Obviously, someone who's been with the Northwestern program for several years.
Um, Something taken away from him is probably how to be calm and centered on the court. He's always has this stoic face and stoic feeling to him. And I actually asked him about why he doesn't smile on the sideline. And he was saying that when we do good things, it's expected. And he wants us to go past doing what's expected and rather go do something that's exceptional. So that's our goal, is just to do something exceptional, bring the Northwestern program to heights that it's never been before. So I actually really appreciate that little nugget because I interpret it as something that we need to earn a smile out of him. So let's go do something exceptional.
That's great. And my last question for you, can you tell us what we can all look out for from you, but also the rest of the Wildcats team next season?
You can definitely expect us to work even harder than we have before. We're looking to finally make it to the tournament, and I intend on helping with that as well. It's only going to be, as far as everyone knows, me and Leilani this next season as middles. So you can expect us working hard and trying our best, but also expect us to go for the golds.
Love to hear that. All right. Well,
Yeah.
best of luck to you and the rest of the team next season.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for tuning in. So you can catch the Wildcats games on Big Ten Plus next season. So tune into that and see Kennedy absolutely dominate the court next year as she enters her sophomore season. Thanks for watching this interview. I'm Aidan, and this was Kennedy Hill.